Hello YouTube, this is Marauders here, and well, this is my Mayflash F300 Elite. So I got into Guilty Gear Strive pretty hard as I'm a main, so yeah, I've been having quite a lot of fun with Guilty Gear Strive, and but one thing I realized was that the fact that I was actually dropping quite a lot of inputs. Specifically, I couldn't do my command grab properly, and I just couldn't do all the joystick turning properly. So then I realized that, you know what, maybe it's time I gave the Hitbox and the MixBox design a quick little try. So for those of you who don't know, a Hitbox is basically an all-button controller, and a MixBox is basically an all-button controller, but the direction keys are basically just keyboard directional keys. So what I remember was, hey, I actually have a bag of these Otemu tactile switches lying around for replacement into my other keyboard. So why not? I decided, like, okay, I 3D printed a small little key holder plate to see whether I can design something to hold a key, and then I upscaled it to a higher to a more complete key design, and finally I ended up with the most classical MixBox mod that's available. So I decided to mod it on the 8BitDo arcade stick that I have, because, you know, I just personally really like the 8BitDo functionality and features. There is one nice thing about working with the 8BitDo arcade stick when you're doing modding and stuff, because all the electrical components are actually in the top half of the stick. So the bottom half is actually just a USB controller, and because this is a wireless stick, you can just turn it on and you can start testing it without even screwing anything back in. And well, you can test it pretty comfortably too, because it's wireless. It's a nice nifty little feature. Okay, so that initial design turned out really good. I mean, it showed me that yes, having directional keys really made a very huge difference when it comes to controlling and playing So I felt that, hey, I could really work with this. I was really impressed with how accurate my inputs were, but there was just a little problem, you see. So the thing is, for the initial mod, it was basically just a normal, like, directional keys right where the joystick hole was. So I was feeling very cramped. My fingers were tired and my hands were getting tired. So obviously that was just a quick initial design to try out the feasibility. And now that I've finished the feasibility test, it's time to size up. So I went back to OpenSCAD and did some more designing. I came up with a new design, and then I let the 3D printer do its work. So in case you didn't already know, the 8BitDo arcade stick uses a 10-pin connector for its joystick, or offers some solder pads, but you can just use a JST XH 2.54 dot pitch connector, and you can actually just plug it in, because you can see that the up down, right, lefts are ground are all marked already. And if you just want to make your insertion easier, what you do is you see two legs here on the connector. So we just need to snip off the one on the other corner. Just use a flat cutter to get a nice flat cut. So just chop off that leg and you'll be able to insert it in very easily. And so I came out with a new design for the stick, and this one I like to call Bob. So if we look at the design of Bob now, what happens is that the up key is actually pulled down so that it's being pressed by my thumb, and the things on top, they are slightly shifted up above the joystick hole, so that the original joystick hole, so that I have my hands are deeper inside the stick, and it feels more comfortable to rest my palm on the stick. And then of course, because I'm now jumping with my thumb, when I control, I don't need to like try to use the same finger for crouch and jump at the same time. So that just improves the flexibility and the responsiveness of the controls. But of course, there was just one more annoyance with Bob, and that was the fact that the up key is now at the bottom, and therefore sometimes it gets really confusing when I'm not playing a game, which is like, oh, I need to select menu options, I need to use my thumb to go up instead of pressing the up key at the top. So yeah, that was a bit confusing, and I thought, you know what, I can do better. And so after yet another round of 3D designing and printing, I've came out with my ultimate design. This is what I like to call the TBOB. Okay, so it's basically just like Bob. So you have your left down and right keys and your up here, but there's also an up here. So it's basically the best of both worlds. You can either jump using your thumb, or you can jump using your index, or just when you're in menus, you can just select your options using the up key as well. So it's basically just works. and you don't have to and if your muscle reflex, because of you're using keys, your muscle reflex says press this to go up instead of pressing this, yeah, no problem, since it's there. The wiring is exactly the same anyway, it's just the same up button wired. Okay, so let's have a closer look at how at this mod. So yeah, so basically I've already modded this quite a bit. These are all now replaced with Sanwa buttons. So actually it's nothing special. The thing is, the whole thing is just like held in with blue tack. You know, I don't know what you call it in your country, whether it's any different or not, but basically it's this sticky blue stuff that you use in the office to just hold things down. Okay, so I just use that to stick the assembly in. Okay, nothing special. So you can see, so these are not the Otemu switch, because for TBOB I managed to order Cherry MX linears. So now these are very good switches. Okay, and of course the way it works is that I just wired up everything into the normal Sanwa 5-pin connector, and I have another, to make it easy for me to print and also to mount the buttons on the joystick. I actually have another piece down here, which is like the stand holder, and once again this is held in place using blue tack. It's amazing. So you might be wondering, why can I trust such a simple mounting option using blue tack? Actually yes, because unlike when you're using unlike you're using a stick, when you're just using buttons, you have a very little force comes onto the assembly, so it's not like you're gonna shake it shake it very hard or anything. You're just pressing buttons. So yeah, using BlueTech, it works. It's secure. Well, what what more do you want? So I also designed my own buttons. So you can see it's just a simple flat button, and the thumb button is a bit wider so that you can reach it easier, or you might want it to be vertical instead, depending on your preference. Okay, so I think what you might be wondering, does it really make a difference? Does using keys instead of a joystick, does it really make that much of a difference when you're playing? Yes, it does make a lot of difference. So here, this is what we call a very simple drop-in mod. So there will be other things like SOCD cleaners and other advantages which this setup doesn't have. I essentially just did a simple non-destructive mod on this. Why is this good? This is good because you will have very little drop inputs. Once you're used to it, you would definitely be able to Dragon Punch and Fireball much more accurately whenever you want to, compared to using a stick. Okay? It takes much less time to get better with a setup like this than with an actual stick. And again, like I said, this is a non-destructive mod. If you feel like it, you can actually just take this out and put the joystick back in and get back to using it as a normal stick. And I feel that if you are really like, if you feel like playing fighting games seriously, you really want to at least give this key setup a chance. You have to try it out. Definitely try it out at least once, because it's really different. It makes a very surprising difference. I was really surprised when I decided to use it, and I really can't I can't imagine myself playing any other way now. In fact, now I'm trying to figure out how to actually get a proper SOCD cleaner inside this mod without having to replace the board. And I want to do better. I want to have more fun playing fighting games. So yeah, this is a very interesting mod. You should really think about trying to get it if you're enthusiastic about fighting games, because it will change your life view. Okay, it would change how you decide to play fighting games.